Here we go. All right, welcome everyone to the Mobile First Cloud First User Group at DC. I'm Tim McLilly, one of the group organizers. And tonight we're going to continue on with our Office 365 Fast Track series to help you drive deployment and adoption. As usual, this session will be recorded and posted to YouTube as soon as the session's over. Unless, of course, I have audio-visual difficulties, then that's a whole different story. A little bit about the series so far. Our presenter, Stephanie Butler, is online right now, and she's just been excellent. We had a little bit of a scheduling issue last year due to work-related travel. We've all been there. So tonight's topic will be the third topic in the series of 5. We'll be talking about prioritizing solutions and creating an adoption plan. Next week, we'll be talking, at the end of the month, May 25th, we'll be talking about the engagement phase of the Fast Track framework, talking about committing resources and executing an adoption plan. And then we'll wrap up the series at the end of June with really how do you measure your O365 deployment and adoption process? How effective was it? How do you measure success? Do you have any shared success stories? And have you set in place a framework to reiterate or iterate through other workloads? We also have coming up in July and August a 2-part series from Justin Harris at Binary Tree, and he's going to talk to us about Office 365 groups. And I'm looking forward to that because I have some customers that actually want to kind of get them in front of that technology. I'll probably have to do that sooner than the podcast occurs, or the meeting occurs, but it's a cool technology. It's a way to do collaboration and get you out of things like distribution lists or public folders. The slides and materials for tonight's presentation, or just any of our user group meetings, is out on our Meetup page, meetup.com, MFCF-DC/files. And then the web content is out there on our YouTube channel as well. And I'll put that up momentarily, but you can find the jump-off part, or the jump-off link for our YouTube page right off of the left-hand side of our meetup.com site at Mobile First Cloud, or MFCF-DC. Also coming up, we've got the last of a 3-part series on cloud, leveraging the cloud for project management. We have a Project Online Black Belt, Sean Kim, and his colleague Tosh Bantz, who come in and they talk about the different aspects of using cloud technologies to manage project, and they use MS Project and Project Online for all their demos. It's very cool. In a couple of weeks, we've also got the SQL Server 2016 release event. We actually changed that name a little bit, but we have the rooms in the Reston, Virginia office, the Microsoft office in Reston, Virginia, reserved on the 3rd floor, capacity of about 150. We've got Microsoft SQL Server MVP Jessica Moss to come in, and she's going to do a half day around new features of SQL Server with a focus on the enhancements to the BI stack. Then we're going to break for lunch and reassemble after lunch and break into groups. And you'll work on design solutions. We're supposed to be getting data sets and design problems from the Professional Association of SQL Server. They're helping to sponsor the event. And then you sort of work through the design solutions to be judged at the end of the day. If you just want to watch and not participate at the group level, that's fine. Hang out, have some snacks. We'll have breakfast and lunch and do some networking and kind of watch the contest. That's totally cool. But it'll be a fun time, so we're looking forward to that. And that's going to be our meeting for the Nova SQL group for the month of May. And then way out in October, in the fall, when hopefully it's a lot less busy, we're doing our IT Pro Camp on a Friday. My family's a fan of that. We're going to do it on Friday instead of over the weekend. There'll be an in-person event with 50 sessions and about 9 really good technical tracks. And the Chevy Chase office is getting renovated, so we'll have nice, swanky surroundings on the 5th and the 7th floor of the Chevy Chase office. So we're certainly looking forward to that. Let's see. Pull this down. 1 second. Sorry, Stephanie, I'm being a little bit clumsy, but
it's okay. This is real life. We like these kind of webinars.
Right. Thank you. So here's our Mobile First Cloud First User Group page. A lot of you, this is where you RSVP'd and registered. If you want to go and find files for different sessions, we store our files up here, and here's some presentations around Power BI, our MTA Test Fest, Admin Center presentation that Nakia did. And then down on the left-hand side, you can find the jump-off area for our YouTube channel. And we're really happy about that. We've got some good content, and we'll continue to put more out there. We think it's a good way to sort of reach out to users and let you know about what our offerings are. So with that being said, do you want me to jump right into the demo of Sway and kind of tee that up for you, Stephanie?
Sure. If you want to hop right into it, that works great.
So let me hop right into it. And the reason I'm going to show you a technology that's in Office 365 is to sort of act as a good gateway, conversational gateway to the rest of Stephanie's conversation, because the fast track framework, the different phases are about the different Office 365 workloads and helping organizations get those workloads deployed successfully, making sure that your stakeholders are involved. You've got communications wrapped around the deployment and adoption of the technology, that your users are actually using the technology, that they're getting some meaningful benefit from it. And one of these technologies is Sway. I'll just throw this up here just for the sake of looking at the buttons. I mean, those are the key Office 365 workloads, depending on what your Office 365 subscription is. But I want to talk about Sway, because Sway is part of the Office 365 family of products, and it is a great way to do a presentation, to share that presentation, to collaborate on editing, to have that presentation serve as a template for reuse. And there's some good things about it, and some things that might need to work on a little bit. But I'll go ahead and start. I'll go out to Sway. You can go to sway.com. And since I've already got a subscription, it's going to ask me, or it already knows my login and all that good stuff. So it pulls up the Sway panel. And this is where I've created some Sway presentations. And and this is where, now is the past tense verb, is it sway or swatted? I've already created Sway presentations, so have I swatted? Who knows? I don't think that's an important question. Why did I ask it? I owe you guys 30 seconds of your life back. But if you want to just go take a look at some technical documentation about Sway, you can go and dig into some of our product documentation. And this is still, and I think Stephanie would agree with me, there are some features of Sway that are still very much a work in product from a product roadmap and capability perspective. Some things that might not tie into what you might expect in the enterprise, but they're getting better all the time. And they're taking customer feedback. So this is really a two-pronged example. I'm giving you an example of a Office 365 workload, and also an example of an Office 365 workload that still needs some work, and you have an opportunity to give feedback back to Microsoft about what you'd like to see in the product, what you do like and what you don't like. There's different subscriptions in Office 365 that offer Sway. I think I'm not sure about the tiers where Sway is offered, but there is also a freemium version of Sway, which, like most things at Microsoft, when we're trying to kind of evangelize a technology out in the community, we offer a freemium version. But that being said, that's research for another time. Let me show you Sway. Presentation software, and you can do a couple of things with it. So let's say, let me just show you a Sway that I created back in December around an event that we had before the holiday break.
Tim, before you start that, feel free to open it. I want to land a quick nugget here. So because of my many years in communications, one of the things I know that communications professionals, internal communications, corporate communications with external facing responsibilities, one thing that they really find valuable is an easy way to communicate across a channel that can reach a large audience very quickly. And when I saw Sway, when Microsoft launched Sway, I got really excited about that capability. So when you're looking at what Tim is getting ready to demonstrate for you, and you have some level of influence, or you need to be the hero internally with your communications folks, you absolutely should consider making Sway a part of that conversation, even if it's not the direct part. If you incorporate a presentation into Sway, if you incorporate a meeting agenda into Sway, any way that you can show Sway off to a corporate communications stakeholder is a really great idea.
Mm-hmm.
So just want to land that before you started, Tim, to get people thinking about that.
Absolutely, and thanks for, and you bring up a point that makes me think of something. A customer, I got into Sway and learned Sway because a customer, an enterprise customer, asked about learning more about Sway so they could use it to replace their internal corporate newsletter, which was basically a PDF that they were routing around email and then storing it on a SharePoint site. This, of course, can go on be linked to a SharePoint site and shared and all of that, but this is much more dynamic than a PDF. So what you see right here in this tile area, you see a collection of Sways where I can create a new Sway. I can import a Sway from Word or PowerPoint or PDF. I've got one of those, right? This isn't a complete hero story. I'll show you where I made some goofs at the last minute and did a horrible Sway presentation where the import didn't really work well. And then I think I have some, I'll show you a good one real quick. But right off the main pane, you can play the Sway, which invokes the presentation. You can do, it'll play automatically, or you can click through it. I can go ahead and share this Sway out. I can share it for read access, or I can share it for edit access. I can duplicate this Sway if I want to say, oh, this is a great presentation. I'm going to duplicate it and make some changes, or I can delete it. Let's not hit that button. So I'm going to go ahead and just double click, which is also a way to get Sway going. And I'll step you through this example, and then I'll do a real quick build on a Sway. So this is back from our Modern Data Innovation Day, where we had experts from around, or experts in the data analytics stack come out to rest. George was there, Nikia was there. So I'm going to click down, and notice this effect here, clicking down. What this is doing, that's taking a picture that I laid captions on top of. We had a hashtag called BeDataFearless, remember that, and here's some text that I just kind of typed in, and I'll step through with the demo. I imported this into the Sway. I believe this is just a standard JPEG. I detailed our sponsors, and all I'm doing now is I'm not clicking down, I'm simply scrolling down. And again, I could hit play and it would just play. Talked about our sponsors. Now what's really cool about this is that I was able to incorporate a slide that has the team that helped out. I took a picture of our flyer, like their event flyer, and put that there to say here's what the day was about. So a little bit almost like a scrapbook. I went out and, like everybody else that had social marketing or social media, I went out and tweeted about, hit up LinkedIn to talk about it. We also, that took me out to Twitter. I went out to Twitter and tweeted about the event using the hashtag fearless. And I pulled in some other graphics from the event itself. And then I tried to let it kind of flow. I pulled in pictures. Are you with me? Oh, Sway can get fussy, but that's okay. I pulled in pictures, mixed them with tweets, tried to let the pictures and the tweets kind of correspond with how the day went. I had a little podcast area where I did little video interviews of my partner on the Northern Virginia SQL Server User Group side, Brian Moran, and that's my co-organizer, one of the co-organizers, one of my co-workers at Microsoft, Alexandra. Oh, she would kill me if I called her Alexandra. Alex Dorman. But I'm recording, so ouch. And then some real quick snippets, videos of the presentation. This is literally YouTube videos that will play right in the space without a pop-out. Pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of went forward and I said, I'm going to just do a nice streaming list of all the rest of the photos mixed in. I have an interview from Al Noel, an MCS, a former MCS consultant who's big in the machine learning space. And notice how that all flows together nice. You can control this. I'm doing a vertical sort of a perspective, but you can do a horizontal perspective. Teammates, tweets, pictures and tweets. You can even edit these photos to do, there's Nakia, and you can even edit these photos to do focus points. So if I wanted to focus maybe on this Microsoft emblem here on the Microsoft logo here, and have it kind of look at there, and then I believe that's George Carlisle sitting right there on at the desk, and have it kind of do little focus spots. And I did this in less than an hour. I took a picture of a whiteboard diagram from our famous data platform SSP Jimmy O, where he basically, some people just grabbed their sandwiches, grabbed their lunch, and he did a Cortana Analytics overview on the whiteboard to a stunned crowd of attendees. So it was awesome. We got some pictures of our sponsors. So the point is, what I did and we wrapped it up with a raffle. And for our raffle, what we did here was we did a hashtag, one of the prizes anyway, we did a hashtag count. If you were able to show up as, a certain number of counts of tweets or retweets using the Be Data Fearless hashtag, you were eligible for a prize. By the way, that wasn't the best idea because I didn't know this, but people will game that system and set up some kind of tweet feed and just sit there and have it retweet Be Data Fearless. But it's the thought that counts. One guy showed up late at like 2 in the afternoon, and then by 4:30 he had 150 tweets with Be Data Fearless, and we're like, dude, no, come on now. So what did I do to pull this together? I had a folder on my desktop or my device with photos. I had some YouTube content with the embedded URL for the video, and I had some slide content as well as some text. And let's take a look and see. And I'm watching the time, Miss Stephanie.
Yeah, good time.
And let's take a look at how easy this is to pull together. So let's say I want to create a new sway. You can edit a sway too, by the way. I won't go too far in creating a new, but let's say this is my sway. This is my sway. You can do some things with emphasis and accent. You can also put in a link. You can determine what type of background you want for your sway. And it'll search the web for your background. A little slow. Like that. As you can see in the background, it's populating.
I love that feature.
It's
I
really
love
cool.
how to spider the web for an image.
Yeah.
It's appropriate to the terminology you've typed in.
And look at what's really nice is if I want to do some more image insertion, let's say I want to do, let's see, and I'm kind of being sloppy here, I apologize. The core unit of design is called a card. So I'm going to insert different types of cards. There's a text card or a heading card that does just that. It serves as the heading for your presentation or maybe some text. And you might want to put pumpkin pie. All the fall slides making me think of that. Pumpkin pie recipe. And then you might want to insert a card that relates to a certain type of media. And so if I want to insert a picture, what's really nice is I can upload one. I can find a picture from Twitter, YouTube, things that are less traditional, or I can go out to OneDrive or Flickr or find one on Bing or Picket. I'm not familiar with Picket. Or you can add a source. And now here is where the product is not fully baked. I said I want to add another source, and it basically sends me a customer input form. Well, we like the idea that you want to have another source of pictures. Tell us what you want. You can't have it now, but tell us what you'd like. And it's most of your cloud-based storage. Bless their hearts, they're trying. But I'm going to hit not now because it made me grumpy. So I'm going to do another card here. And the only difference between insert and then card is, and hitting cards is really the cards, you get the full menu of the cards. Inserts, it's sort of, you're basically setting something up at like right underneath the previous card. So I'm going to insert another card, and I'm going to insert a tweet. And so I know tonight we used a hashtag beg pardon. Let me recover real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We used hashtag mobile first cloud first underscore DC Office 365. So what's nice is I'm going to add a tweet, and let's see, search sources, Twitter. And then I'm going to go ahead and search Twitter for this hashtag. And here are 3 tweets that I did earlier today in preparation for the demo. And this isn't very clean and pretty, I know, but I'm just going to grab these 3 tweets.
I love it.
Onto Sway. And I also want to, oh, this is good, this is good. Let's say you want to do, we'll do one more card here. If you want to pull in a chart, I did do a demo for that, and I don't want to get all wrapped around the axle on a chart, because I know that'd be a really cool thing to do. But you could do an interactive chart on your Sway. Mm-hmm. So you could do presentation, or excuse me, heading, some title text, a tweet. Hey, we got this Power BI demo coming up, and incorporate an interactive chart into your Sway. And then let's say you were like, what a colloquialism. Let's say you wanted to share out the link. Hey folks, hey team, check out the Sway that I just built. I'm going to add additional authors, and let's get rocking and rolling on this really basic presentation I created. So that's how you can build a Sway very quickly. This is my Sway. Don't laugh. It's taking its sweet time. Remember, this is all cloud-based. All the data, all the images, all the processing of this is all in the cloud. And let me show you a Sway that didn't work out too well. Notice you can do an import. And that's literally just that. It's going to access the file system and say, cool, you're going to import a PowerPoint presentation? Well, I tried to import a well-vetted slide deck of a load testing presentation, and here's the mess that it made. Yeah, see, this is I don't even know what this is. It just didn't come out very well. It's a coworker and I, we did it for Tech Ready. It didn't really bring our graphics across. It didn't bring there is a thumbnail. I have a thumbnail graphic to show my Twitter handle. That's what it did to that. My meetup graphics just to say, hey, I'm gonna run some user groups, blah blah blah. So again, it's a great product with some good opportunities to get some customer feedback, and it's part of your Office 365 workload family. You're going to get questions about it in your organization. If you're in charge of deployment and adoption, the ramp up to train on it is very small. It doesn't take a lot to get trained up on Sway. Your main blocker is just the conceptual description. What is Sway? And then once you show people and how it fits in with your other Office 365 workloads, it'll be a presentation suite that'll probably do some very heavy competition against PowerPoint.
I agree, Tim. And I want to round that out by saying, someone asked the question, how do we keep customers, or if you're internal to the enterprise, how do we keep employees engaged with using Office 365? And for me, that answer hinges on really demonstrating the value of the entire ecosystem. And hopefully you've invested in some of the neat additional features on top of the core stack, like Sway, like Power BI, like Delve. Because when I think about, how end users define and discover value, Sway is one of those easy selling points, right? You may not be able to initially sell corporate communications on an intranet in the cloud per se, or Yammer for increased collaboration. Obviously, those are our core, solutions in the Office 365 enterprise stack. But you may be able to sell them on a more visual, effective, far-reaching communication channel like Sway. And then once you have that conversation, then it's much easier to start to talk to them about how Sway is a part of this entire cloud productivity and collaboration ecosystem called Office 365. And it really sort of pulls them into conversation from the outside in as opposed from the inside out.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. This is just a vertical angle or a horizontal angle, and notice the focus points will move around, the pictures move. These are presentations that can... Sorry, I just want to show you that part.
I like that. I didn't even know that feature.
Well, all righty. I'll flip it over to you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Tim. Sure. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
As Tim mentioned and he's going to flip control over to me, Tim mentioned that there was the feature in Sway to import a presentation, and I tried that feature very unsuccessfully with today's presentation. So I was going to do today's presentation on plan in Sway itself, but I opted to go with a more familiar solution called PowerPoint. And so once Tim gives me control there, I'm going to pop my deck up, and there we go. Okay. Present my desktop. And just let me know, Tim, when you can see that.
It's flickering on my side. There we go. It's coming up.
Awesome.
We got it.
Awesome. So for those on the call and those who are watching via our YouTube channel, thank you so much for continuing to follow the conversation. Again, the conversation is about Microsoft Office 365. We've previously just talked about Microsoft Office 365 and the fast track portal that Microsoft has made available as their customer success mechanism to help you with not only deployment, but also implementation and end user adoption with Office 365. So we kicked off with that conversation, and then last month we talked about defining your vision and identifying your business scenarios. And so that was the discover stage. And now this month we're at the plan stage, which involves prioritizing solutions and creating an adoption plan. So we just thank you for continuing to join the conversation. Oh, let's see if there we go. Tim did some introductions. I'm just going to do a really quick one, especially for anyone joining the YouTube channel really quickly. And thank you, Tim, for the quick demo, Sway. I'm going to talk a little bit about our partner and sponsor Brainstorm's Quick Help program, and then a very, very, very one-slide quick recap of the conversations we've been having when Microsoft says Office 365 and adoption. And then we're going to dive right into prioritizing solutions and creating an adoption plan. I actually have an example of someone who's been joining the conversation. He did some really amazing work between last month and today, and I want to highlight a few things that I really like about his slides as it relates to prioritizing solutions and creating an adoption plan. Here are my social channels. Obviously, these are the places where I connect with people: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and obviously, if you have conversations with me or with Tim on those channels, we would absolutely love if you use that hashtag there, MFCF_DC_Office 365. A little about me. My name is Stephanie Butler. Again, I've got 17 years combined experience in corporate communications, human resources, and change management. I am a former Microsoft Office 365 and Yammer Customer Success Manager. Really my role continues as a partner today is really helping customers work easier with cloud productivity solutions. I'm a natural dot connector. I'm a middle child, so it's just a natural thing for me to want to connect people, ideas, thoughts, and successes. And I'm an avid storyteller, which hopefully you've seen surface in a few of these sessions, and you hopefully will continue to see as we continue the conversation. Today, I'm the managing partner of the Platform Group. The Platform Group is a cloud migration and adoption and change management practice. We are a Microsoft certified silver partner, and that's in partnership with Landscape Productivity Partners and Solutions. Many of the things that we can offer clients are technical migration of Microsoft Cloud productivity solutions like Office 365, EMS, and Azure. Once you deploy those solutions, we are well fitted to nurture adoption and change management under the ProSci ADKAR methodology. We bring a great team of customer success managers to your organization to help with that post-deployment adoption. And our expertise is really in IT, communications, and marketing. Really quick overview of Brainstorm, our partner. When you think about that end user adoption of Office 365, training and development in the ecosystem is extremely important. And so one of the things that Brainstorm has made available to help with those productivity adoption behaviors is a 90-day Brainstorm Quick Help program. That 90 days gives you full company access to things like communication resources, self-guided content that your end users can use at their own pace, assigned content that you can define based on organizational groups or departments and functions, and then instructor-led training on site for monthly quick pass webinars. If you want to take advantage of those offers, contact Desiree Voigt. Her phone number is listed there on the right-hand side of the slide, and Tim will make that available as well after the webinar today.
Absolutely.
That. So just very quickly, when we talk about Microsoft Office 365 and adoption, Microsoft looks at success in 4 ways: by setting vision and identifying business scenarios, which is what we did last month in the Discover stage. They define success in stage 2 as prioritizing solutions and creating an adoption plan, which we're going to go over. Stage 3, which we'll talk about next month, involves committing resources and executing on that adoption plan, which I'm actually really excited about next month's conversation, because that's where my bailiwick is. I'm about getting rolling up your sleeves, getting your hands dirty, and making this happen. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the 4th stage of a successful adoption approach hinges on measuring, sharing those successes, and then iterating. You've heard me say in previous webinars, we look at that as aim, fire, and adjust. So throughout the series, we'll be connecting those dots. And today, as you can see, we're here at the Define and Prioritize Solution stage. And Tim, I can't see the IM, so if we do get any questions, please let me know, interrupt me.
You got it, I'm on it.
Awesome. Be mindful of time as well. So as we mentioned, the first step in your adoption journey was to establish, last month we really focused in on establishing sort of an organizational vision that helps your employees understand the benefits of working in a new way. Sometimes I don't say a new way, sometimes I even say working in a better way, because better can create less anxiety than if you communicate with employees about working in a new way, right? When you tell employees to work in a new way, they start thinking, oh no, they're going to take something away from me. And that's not always necessarily the case. If you position it as your vision is helping employees work in a better way, you may be more successful in securing their buy-in and their support. But that's the first step that we discussed, was establishing that organizational vision. And then once you set that vision, you identify your desired business scenarios by highlighting the existing business challenges and then recognizing the opportunities to reach that goal. So once you see that vision, what are the challenges that you need to solve to get you there, right? To help you achieve that vision. So the first 2 steps we talked about last month. Today, we're going to hone in on prioritizing solutions. And solutions, also known as use cases or usage scenarios, are the actions that you'll actions you'll take to tackle your business challenges and drive change across your organization. The solutions are the use cases, in essence, are the specific steps that you're going to take using the Office 365 capabilities to help you achieve those business scenarios and then ultimately reach that vision. So how does this concept all fit together? Well, as you can see here, vision, scenario, solutions. This chart is so easy to help you begin to frame your thinking around this trilogy. And so here's where I want to pause really quickly and go to an example that one of our attendees created after last month's conversation about this, because I really like the work that he's done here. So here are this person's corporate business scenarios. In the orange box, obviously, are the visions, right? They want to have greater employee productivity. They want to have stronger data management controls, and they want to have an amplified insights from content. Okay, their business scenarios really are, in order to achieve that, they want to drive productivity by giving employees the best class of tools to reach their business objectives, right? That's their scenario for reaching that vision of greater employee productivity. To reach stronger data management controls, they want a platform that delivers enhanced security, compliance, and information protections. That's that scenario for that vision. And then to have amplified insights from content, they want to accelerate innovation with faster inspection of data to beat our competitors to market. I love that. Whoever created this was awesome.
That is nice.
It's very nice, isn't it, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
So now you get down to the solutions, right? Those are in the dark gray boxes at the bottom. So to achieve the vision of greater employee productivity, they've said one of their solutions is empowered employees, and then the other is work anywhere. Very simple. I like how short, clean, simple these statements are, because people digest consumable chunks of information. So this does not have to be a difficult process identifying your solutions. We'll talk about prioritizing them in another slide here in a moment, but I want you to hone in on the fact that they've been able to achieve what I consider a very strong roadmap from vision to use case by using very few words, okay? So to achieve stronger data management controls, they say, hey, you know what? One of our use cases will be faster compliance, and the other will be protected secret. Finally, to achieve amplified insights from content, they've said one of our use cases will be self-service analysis and powerful content management. Go to a different slide. So let me get out of there. I just wanted to show that slide really quickly and come back here to show you how this slide in particular ends up translating into real life conversation. Okay. So this particular section, they begin to break down what are the common challenges of conducting effective meetings. This was the exercise that the person who I just showed you their slide went through to land on where they were. And I just want to really quickly walk you through how they did that. So, for example, in this scenario, conducting effective meetings is the vision for this particular organization. And they said, in order to conduct effective meetings, we think that hinges on three factors: taking collaborative notes, tracking action items, and engaging meeting participants. I love how there's only three. Sometimes it can be really overwhelming when you start to think about, how do I just begin to introduce new email or Yammer or Skype for Business or OneDrive for Business to the organization? Like, people start thinking about this whole, big conversation, when really it boils down to, one or two or three different value props, proof points, things that will make running more effective meetings achievable. And so you don't have to think in big numbers. Just think about two or three things that you can start with, like they've done here. The way to get to those three things is to think about the pain points, right? Mm-hmm. So one of your organizational visions is to run more effective meetings. Start having a brainstorming session. What doesn't work today? Okay. In this scenario, what doesn't work today? One common challenge was team members are taking their own individual meeting notes, and the information is not readily available to team members who may have missed a meeting. Okay. And so that's how they landed on, we need to be in a position to take more collaborative notes. The second challenge, after a team meeting, there isn't always a record of decisions or follow-up action items, which can cause ambiguity and confusion amongst the team members. So tracking action items was also another way that they hope to achieve conducting more effective meetings. And then the third common challenge, meeting participants aren't always completely focused on the meeting and may resort to multitasking during meeting. Now, don't raise your hand here, but I bet quite a few of us are guilty of this very thing, right? Multitasking in meetings. And a common cause of that is because people are simply just not engaged. There's no real purpose for the meeting. They don't know what's expected of them in the meeting. And so it's so easy to just continue to check email or text or check Facebook even while you're in that meeting. So that was a challenge for them in this scenario. And so they wanted to have a business scenario that said that they would engage meeting participants more effectively. So they took it to the next level. They went through the work to identify those common challenges, and then they brought it here. And I'm going to show you how they landed at this stage in a few slides, but I just want to show you how this all comes together. So they knew the common challenge about taking collaborative notes, and then they said, you know what, here are some potential Office 365 solutions to help us do better at this, right? Create a OneNote notebook, take notes directly from a Skype meeting, right? Like we're doing now. If we really wanted to make this Skype meeting more robust, we could absolutely incorporate a OneNote note-taking capability into this meeting itself. And then following a team meeting, post a link to the OneNote within your Yammer team group, a place where people have access from their phones or their laptops or desktops immediately to access those OneNotes. So for this scenario, those were the 3 Office 365 use cases or solutions that they believe would help them achieve taking better collaborative notes, which would help them run more effective meetings. They did the same thing for the next 2 items, which I won't go through right now for the sake of time, but you get the gist of where they're going. They started with a pain point. They said, what does Nirvana look like for this pain point? And then how does Nirvana help us achieve that vision? Okay. How they landed on these Office 365 solutions happens here. Bam. It's a chart that's embedded in the free templates Fast Track makes available to you. This is the prioritizing solutions template. I'll show you where to go for that here momentarily. But they started with this chart, and they basically broke it down into the core capabilities that are a part of the Office 365 ecosystem. Yammer, Skype for Business, SharePoint Online, which is also, OneDrive for Business is powered by sort of the SharePoint Online, and then Office and Outlook, okay, which is the email solution. And they just took each of those business scenarios and put bullets or dots in the places where they thought those solutions could be applicable. So after that stage, they came up with their use cases, their solutions. And those use cases are what ultimately landed in these statements that you see here. This is how you begin to approach the conversation with your stakeholders, whether it's your core implementation team, whether it's your executive stakeholders, whether it's your departmental teams or your end users. These are the ways you approach having that conversation about prioritizing solutions. Okay? And so, go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to say this is so helpful because a lot of organizations get stuck on their O365 workloads because they don't know where to begin and they don't know how to explain the value to their user community or to departments that could really take advantage of it. So being able to talk about these use cases and scenarios by working through that, you basically do the strong legwork for educating the users because you're telling them how they can use it in a couple of simple ways,
Absolutely. And again, the gentleman whose slides I showed a bit ago, he actually has examples of that I'm really impressed with, that he took the time to sort of think through with his team on what those core pain points and capabilities and solutions would look like for their organization. In that fast track template, prioritizing solutions, you have a slide right here. You don't have to create one. It's already been created for you. Microsoft has made it easily accessible and available to you. It's your define your solutions template. Use the below table to determine Office 365 solutions that will best fit your need. So I encourage you to just, take some time, identify, your vision for a particular department or the organization, break it down into business scenarios, and then start to prioritize which capabilities or use cases will create the solutions to help you achieve that.
And if you have depending on what size account, you might have solution specialists that you work with, or technical account managers, or ATSs who can actually work with you on the Microsoft side to help paint this picture for you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, Tim. Exactly. If you do have an account team, yeah, your TM or your ATS well, absolutely are the folks you should reach out to maybe help stimulate your thinking in this area. Obviously, a partner like myself is well fitted to have that conversation with you as well, which is part of our customer success and adoption change management offering. I'm going to bypass some of this. I just want to touch on a few really quickly. When you start prioritizing, so that slide, we're taking the notes, engaging your people, making the notes more accessible. When you start prioritizing, okay, which of these will land quick value with our end users, right? Which will these land the fastest? You start to determine that based on the weight of each of those those solutions. The 4 steps on how to weight this would be complexity. How complex or difficult is it to put the solution into place? Added value. So how much additional value will this solution deliver to employees on top of the value they find in what they're already using? The impact. Will the solution impact employees across the whole company, or is it specific to a team or department? I want to stop there for a second, because this is where some customers get stuck, right? Office 365 absolutely can be launched holistically across your entire organization at one time. I've seen customers do that, and it works when it's done well. But there may be some departments or business units that get certain messaging that others or the entire organization doesn't get. So let's say you're launching something like Microsoft Dynamics as a part of your Office 365 deployment. The entire organization may not find Microsoft Dynamics relevant, but your sales organization absolutely will. So this is an example of identifying and prioritizing the impact that the particular solution will have, either for the company or for a specific team or department. And then finally, weight it. For each solution, estimate the amount of leadership support you are likely to receive. Okay, you're going to probably get a lot of leadership support for email. You're going to get a lot of leadership support, more than likely for Skype for Business, because that's a cost-saving solution when it comes to telephony to support some of their broader communication efforts. You may or may not get a lot of support for OneDrive for Business, right? Some people are hesitant to collaborate with documents in the cloud. So just really be aware and conscious of where you might get that leadership support, and then begin to deploy and communicate around those solutions that have a strong weight on, balanced weight on each of these 4.
Right, and I would only add to that, Stephanie, is that be sure to educate your leadership and your key stakeholders about the product capabilities, because you can get too much advocacy from your executive leadership, and it's interpreted as, why aren't we on OneDrive for Business now? Let's just flip the switch and do it.
Mm-hmm. They need to know the details, not all the weeds.
Right.
Absolutely. That's a great point. So here's just a quick example of, how those, can you still hear me, Tim?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, I thought I lost you. No worries. Here's just a quick example of how people are rating and weighting those solutions once you get them identified. And then another graph that you can chart. Again, all of this is in the free resources available to you in the Office 365 in the Fast Track system. Okay. Moving on, I just want to touch on Grooming Champions in the last 5 minutes. Champions, these are the folks who evangelize your solutions. So once you've prioritized them, you want to begin to identify the influencers in your organizations. Champions will help you create the groundswell and the enthusiasm that grows adoption. They'll help you build a circle of influence amongst their teams. They bring the new ways of working to life across the teams through real-life action. They identify business challenges and possible solutions that maybe your core implementation team might have missed. And so they help you iterate. And then finally, they provide feedback to the project team and sponsors. They are your ears on the ground. And so creating a champion program as a part of prioritizing your solutions and creating an adoption plan is critical. In this deck, again, there's a build a champion guide on Fast Track in the plan stage that you have access to. And it'll walk you through the 5 steps to developing a champions community that you see here on the screen.
So important, because you'll use those champions through your engagement phase, your measure phase. They'll help you articulate your solutions and help you create adoption plans. They'll bring to the table, like Stephanie just said, use cases that maybe you hadn't thought of.
Absolutely. I love champions. I helped them build that champion guide, so I'm privy. I mean, I have a heart for the champions. So as we finalize really quickly in the last couple of minutes, I just want to highlight the last bit of information. This to me is the most important. I wish I had gotten here sooner, but I really wanted to show you how to prioritize those solutions. In Fast Track, there's the adoption plan. This adoption plan is like magic, and I'll show you where it is here in the next slide. As you can see, it contains everything from vision, building your scenarios, building your measurement framework, actually creating your adoption plan, building that champion program, and then driving adoption. This is the plan that you want to have in your back pocket at all times. It lets you identify your team roles and what they do. It gives you an entire 12-week timeline, pre, during, and post-launch of everything that you as a team member should be thinking about and doing to create a successful launch of Office 365. This is your adoption plan, okay? This is the guide that you should be using so that when you do go into Fast Track, which I'm going to go there, and start your success plan right in the system, this is where that adoption plan that I just showed you, that's what you would build your success plan off of. You've already done the grunt work in that document. You just come here and begin to build it here in the system. Okay? So that adoption plan to me is where you really start to get your people understanding, here's what we're up against, here's why we're doing what we're doing, and here's how we're going to do it. So thinking we're at the top of the hour, Tim, I'm going to talk a little bit about next steps.
Sure.
The 2 things I would love for everyone to do before next month's call, because next month's call, again, is execution. I'm really excited. So if you could visit the link here, fasttrack.microsoft.com, get to the Drive Adoption screen, click on the Plan tab, download the relevant templates that we talked about today, prioritizing solutions, building a champion program, and creating an adoption plan. I'd love for you to schedule a solution or use case development and prioritization meeting or meetings with your key stakeholders. Start having that conversation. And then define the priorities for at least one of your core business scenarios before next month's meeting. And again, you can use that Define Your Solutions template in the deck. The second thing before next month is if you could go to fasttrack.microsoft.com, the resources section, and download the sample success plan, which is what I just showed you, that Word document, and use this plan to begin to build out a baseline adoption plan for your organization before next month's meeting. So those are your 2 go-dos for next month based on today's conversation. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about learnings, please post your question to the meetup page. share it via Twitter, or if you're like one of the attendees, if you're in Yammer's Microsoft's Office 365 network, that's a Yammer network, hit me or Tim there as well, and we'll be happy to talk you through your model and respond and help you get where you want to be. With that, Tim, we are done today. Thank you, everyone.
Sure. Thank you for presenting for us. Stephanie, I did have a question about this slide deck. Would it be possible for you to maybe send me the deck and I'll post it on our Mobile First Cloud First file site?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, I sure will.
So we'll do that. I just want to say your previous slide where you had the link for the Fast Track portal. To me, that is such a huge takeaway. If you haven't gone out there, folks, please do that, because all the templates, all the resources, project templates are all out there that you can either use with a Microsoft partner or somebody on your account team, or use yourself to kind of teach yourself the Fast Track framework. I had to use it to kind of get myself ramped up about Fast Track, to sort of explain it to a customer and a customer team. Invaluable. Huge takeaways right there.
Mm-hmm. Can't stress it enough. Microsoft has, again, really made it so easy for us to be successful with Office 365, between Fast Track and the resources available there, as you can see here, and then the actual Fast Track portal where you can engage the Fast Track Center team or do self-service through the resources tab. You really you can't lose at being successful with Office 365.
Agreed.
So with that, Tim, I'm going to stop presenting, and I'll send you the deck right now as soon as we hang up, so that Chris and George and the others on the call and those on YouTube have access to it ASAP.
All right. Well, looks like our question panel is clear, because I was able to kind of handle some small questions throughout the session. So, Chris or George, do you have anything?
No, that was great. Thanks.
Sure. And then check out the YouTube channel for the past presentations, and then presentations around for the Project Online stuff too. So, Stephanie, thank you so much. Chris and George, thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on May the 25th.
Oh, wow. Yes, this month. That's right. And I did just attach the document to the Skype for Business meeting here, Tim.
Okay.
You've got it right there.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye, Steph. Thank you.
Bye, Tim. Bye, George.
Let's see if recording.